This next CD is the importance of closing. Closing is the art of helping people to make a decision that's good for them. This is one of the most important things you can ever learn. The key for the professional is that the decision to go ahead must always be the best interest of the person you're helping. If it's not, you should never ask nor allow the person to go ahead. If it is, you have a moral obligation to ask and to help them clearly see how and why it's in their best interest to go ahead. Closing consistently and artfully is directly related to your beliefs about selling. See, if you believe that salespeople are pushy, overbearing people who are out to take advantage of people, it's going to be impossible for you to ever act in a way to successfully help people make those decisions that help them, move forward. You're going to subconsciously avoid asking the tough questions that allow people to see why they should go ahead. What's going to happen is if you see that as being pushy, as being direct, as being a pushy salesperson, you're going to always be really hesitant about doing that. You're going to feel self-conscious. So you've got to see that closing is really truly about helping people make a decision that truly helps their life in a positive direction, okay? On the other hand, if you see sales as a way to easily and effortlessly help people make decisions that are truly great for them, you're going to always be looking for creative ways to help them make the decision to go forward. I've always believed that people are just infinitely better off meeting with me and doing business with me because I believe that it allows me to pleasantly and professionally and persistently ask questions that motivate them to meet with me. See, my intention when I set appointments is to create the feeling that the prospect is going to lose a significant amount of money if they don't meet with me, which, by the way, is true. I found that people are much more motivated by the fear of loss than they are by the prospect of gain. The reality is the success of our economy is completely and totally dependent on a product or service being sold and purchased. If that doesn't happen, then no one has the ability to earn money and take care of themselves or their family. See, even the government workers are dependent on selling. Without the sale of a product or service, taxes aren't paid. Without taxes being paid, there can be no government jobs. Everyone's livelihood is dependent on a sale in one form or another. There is nobody that's immune to this. Every industry, I don't care what you do, even if you're a school teacher, professor, believe me, that money comes either directly or indirectly from a sale being made somewhere of some sort. There is no getting around that. The important belief to develop is that sales made that are good for people, that enhance people's lives, are good for everybody. The great news about Primerica is this: we only do sales that positively impact people's lives, that improve their current financial situation. And we only help people make decisions that are truly good for them. That's one of the things I've always loved about Primerica. When I would sit down with a client, I would never close if it wasn't right for them. But if it was right for them, I would be looking for every way to get them to go ahead and to say yes. I would be very persistent about showing them why this was in their best interest. And I was direct about that. And I think you need to do that because I cared about those people. I cared about those families. I cared that my trainee that I was training could see that, and that they could see that this is the way you need to be with people, because people have a hard time making decisions, right? People are very afraid of making decisions because they're always afraid of making a mistake. So they're always very hesitant to make any kind of decision, any kind of commitment. They're going to easily make that commitment when they see and they feel and they believe it can enhance their situation. That's what you've got to get great at doing. See, the importance of being a closer in Primerica cannot be overestimated. Your ability to stay in business and to effectively train others to stay in Primerica is completely dependent on your ability to teach people how to close and to learn how to close. When I say close, I mean just having the prospect say, yes, I want to do business with you. Yes, I want to buy that policy. Yes, I want to invest money with you. Yes, I want to do that loan. You've got to get people to say yes if you're going to be successful. See, in order to get the appointment, you have to close people. You have to get them to say, yes, I'm willing to meet with you. Yes, I can see some advantage to meeting with you. Yes, I'm curious about finding out what you do. When they meet with you, you've got to close them on becoming clients. And if it's in their best interest, of course. And you have to close them on giving you referrals. You've got to get them to see why it's a good thing to give you referrals. If you close them on joining your business, if you recruit somebody, you still have to close the recruit on putting together a warm market list. And then you've got to close them on calling those people and setting those appointments. And then you've got to convince them to go on more than one appointment, to go on maybe 10 or 20 appointments. Everything about what we're doing is closing. You've got to also close them to come to the meetings. When somebody gets in, you've got to get them to understand why they need to be at every meeting. That's a close. You've got to convince them. See, if you aren't able to close effectively, Primerica is very difficult, a lot more difficult than it needs to be. When you become a master at closing, Primerica becomes fun, it's effortless. Boy, is it extremely profitable too. See, motivating a client to give you a check is the only way for you or your people to get paid, to make any money. If the product enhances the client's financial life and solves a fundamental financial issue, you deserve to ask for and receive the check. I'm going to repeat this again and again. See, your beliefs regarding asking someone to go ahead, right, closing, either your opportunity or products, is going to determine whether you become successful or not. It's going to be everything. It's the whole ball of wax here. You've got to get great at this. If you truly believe the client or the potential associate will be better off involved as your client or your teammate, you're going to be really comfortable and convincing at closing at every opportunity. It's going to be easy for you. I really felt like people were way better off if they did business with me and they got in my business because I believed I could help them. I really believed that. It wasn't something I just was saying to close a sale. I believed that. And I performed, and I made that be a reality and true for everybody that I got involved. You see, if you believe that asking again is being pushy, rude, or obnoxious, you're going to automatically not going to be asking for the business. You're not going to close, right? And in that case, everybody loses. So you've got to work on the beliefs you have about what sales is, because that's going to have a fundamental part of your success in Primerica, how you think about that. So what you believe about closing, which is again is asking people for money or asking people to go ahead or asking people to make a commitment, it's going to determine your viability in Primerica. Remember, we never close unless it's completely and totally in the prospect's best interest in every way. That being true, when it is in their best interest, you have an obligation, a moral obligation to close and ask for the check and ask them to go ahead. If you're sitting with a client, you know them buying this policy is the best thing for their family. If you're sitting with them, you know they should be investing this money if they have any chance of retiring. If you're sitting with them and you have a loan proposal that's going to save them $500 or $1,000 a month, it's going to allow them to get debt-free and financially independent much sooner, or if you're sitting with somebody, you know they need to make an extra $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 a month, and you're not closing them, shame on you. Shame on you. That's ridiculous. You should be closing them. You should be getting them to say yes. Because if you care about your fellow man, if you care about other people, you've got to help them make decisions that are good for them. And that's what closing is. You know, one of the keys is you've got to persuade people emotionally, not logically. People make decisions emotionally, and then they justify them logically. Nobody makes decisions logically and justifies them emotionally. It's the other way around. And I don't care who you are. Even computer geeks, they get all excited emotionally about the new latest gadget, and they want to get it, and they want to be able to brag to their friends about they got this or that, and I got a faster this or that, and I got the cooler this or that. Even computer geeks do that. They do it emotionally, and then they justify how it's going to make everything more effective and efficient logically later. But they always make them emotionally. I don't care who you are. You make every decision emotionally, and then you justify it logically. So you've got to understand that when you're dealing with people. You've got to close emotionally. You've got to talk about how it's going to affect their family, how it's going to get them to accomplish their dreams and goals, how it's going to get them where they want to go, how it's going to make them feel, how they're going to look in front of their peers or their friends. You got to sell the vision of how they're going to end up and where they're going to be and how it's going to impact their lives in a positive way. And then you're not going to have any problem closing people on anything. That's why you get in the business. Why would you recruit somebody in the business? Because you could accomplish your dream life. You could live in that house on the beach, Martin. You could drive that Continental GT. You can go on that vacation to Fiji and in Europe, man. You can do all that. You can send your kids to college of their choice. If they qualify to get into Harvard and it's $50,000 a year and you're making $1 million a year, you can send them there and not worry about it, man. How awful would it be if you had a kid that came home and said, Dad, I got into Harvard, and you go, you know what, I'm sorry, son, but I can't afford to send you there. You're going to have to go to the community college. Would that be horrible? That'd be awful to have that situation happen. You need to talk to people out there. That's why you need to get in this business. That's why you need to make more money. That's why you need to do this, man, because your life can change. You can live the way you've always dreamed of living. You're better than you think you are. Man, look, you can do anything. You've got to do it emotionally. You got to ask questions. You got to constantly be asking questions, asking the right questions, questions that when they answer, clearly shows it makes sense for them to go ahead. That's what you've got to do. And you got to do it in a pleasant way, in a professional way, not in a aggressive, overbearing way, but in a way that shows you care about them. People who don't understand people believe that giving tons of information and telling people more about their product or service is what sells their product or service. But that's not right. See, what you've got to do is you've got to find out, what do people really want? Ask questions. What do you really want? And then you got to show them how, by being involved with you either as a client or a representative, you can help them get that you're the guy that can help them accomplish what they want. That's what you've got to do. See, the most important thing you must do is find out exactly what the prospect wants. Only we can do that, folks, is by asking questions. This is important because people are motivated by what they want. We're all motivated by that. We know what we want. We all know what we want, right? And if we run across somebody or something or some product that can help us get what we want, we'll go to great lengths to get that product or service or do that thing. We'll do it. So you've got to show them that you can get them what they want, and they'll automatically be motivated to go ahead with the products, the F&A, the services, or the business opportunity. Here's some of the questions you might ask. Bill, is retiring sooner than later important to you? Would it be more important to you to be able to retire 5 to 10 years sooner than you're currently on pace to? Do you have a debt freedom date set? In other words, do you know exactly when you're going to be completely debt-free? Look, how motivated are you to be debt-free? On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you be? In your 401k right now, do you know if you have a correct allocation that will allow you to reach your retirement goals? If yes, what is it? Do you know your financial independence number? Wouldn't you like to have a plan that can help you reach financial independence in a specific time period? Doesn't it make sense to have a plan in writing that specifically shows you how to achieve financial independence versus winging it and hoping things turn out well? Is there anything much more important than investing an hour or so to make sure your children's education is paid for and so that you can retire well and become debt-free? Do you plan on retiring in your present job or profession? Have you ever entertained having and owning your own business? If you could earn what you're currently earning or more while being your own boss, wouldn't you rather be your own boss than stay in your job? What's your plan to change careers or start your own business? If you don't have a plan, is there any reason you would invest 20 to 30 minutes and allow me to show you a way you can potentially own your own business and double or triple your income? You don't seem like the kind of person who makes decisions without all the facts. Is that true? Then it makes sense to meet with me to get all those facts so you can make an informed and intelligent decision, doesn't it? If I can teach you exactly what to do to earn the money you said you wanted to, is there any reason you wouldn't go ahead and let me help you do that? Is making a difference and helping people important to you? I saw Primerica as my last chance to win in my life where I could earn an extraordinary income and live my dream life. Is doing that important to you too? Is freedom important to you? If yes, you and I both know freedom isn't going to happen at your job in the near future, so why don't you join me and let me help you get free? All right, these are some of the tie-downs that you want to use when you're talking. Tie-downs are to have the prospect verbalize affirmation of going forward. So in other words, you say, wouldn't you agree? Doesn't that make sense? Does that work for you? Couldn't you? Wouldn't you? Don't you agree? Those are the kinds of things that you say, you tag on at the end of a sentence like, hey, Bill, wouldn't you agree that it makes sense for you to be a business owner versus being an employee? Or that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, being debt-free and financially independent, that makes sense to have a plan to do that. Don't you agree? That's what you want to use tie-downs for. Focus on, at the end of a sentence, tying them down and getting a little mini commitment. That's what, wouldn't you agree? That makes sense, doesn't it? Does that work for you? Couldn't you? Wouldn't you? Don't you agree? Those kinds of things tagged onto the end of a sentence of a question will get that minor commitment you need. And what you want to have is, many, many minor commitments throughout your presentation as you're meeting with somebody or talking to somebody. Next thing is, do not ask yes or no questions. One of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to ask questions that offer a direct yes or no question. Always give an alternative choice or ask questions that you already know the answer to. So like for example, would you like to retire sooner or later? I can meet with you on Monday or Wednesday. Which is better for you? Would you rather meet at 6 or 8 o'clock? Which insurance solution makes more sense for your family, A, B, or C? Would you like to invest the difference or pay off your mortgage sooner and become debt-free. So you ask questions where no matter what they answer, it's an affirmative answer of going ahead, all right? That's why you want to formulate questions. Another thing you want to do is get these minor yeses, like I mentioned just previously, throughout your presentation. Minor yeses allow you to get minor commitments throughout the presentation. Doing this makes it much easier for the prospect to go ahead since they don't want to be inconsistent with their answers. So if you're constantly getting yes, that makes sense, yeah, I would like to do that throughout the presentation, then at the end of the presentation, if they've been saying yes all along, it's going to be incongruent for them to say, no, I don't want to do that. It's going to be very difficult because people have a tendency to want to be congruent with what they say. So ask the prospect often if they'll go ahead if you can help them get what they want. For example, if I can put a plan together for you, John and Mary, that will allow you to retire sooner, become debt-free, and protect your family's income, will you implement my recommendations? And that's a minor tie-down. When you get that tie-down, they say yes, then of course now that's a tie-down. If I'm able to help you pay your home and other debt faster than you're currently on pace for, will you go ahead with my plan? You notice these are really direct questions. You're asking directly for a commitment, and that's very important. Helping your children with their education is important to you, isn't it? It's important to become debt-free, wouldn't you agree? Having a plan is important to you and your family's future, wouldn't you agree? If you could retire sooner, you'd want to do that, wouldn't you? Protecting your family standard of living is important, isn't it? If I can offer you more protection for the same or lower cost, will you go ahead with my plan? If I can offer you a savings and retirement plan that meets your needs better than your current plan, will you move your money and invest in your future savings with me? If I can show you a way for you to earn the income you need to realize the life you want, will you join me in my business? If I can help you to earn the extra income you need to accomplish your goals, would you join me in my business? So you can see, well, these are just getting minor yeses. These are the kind of questions should be interspersed throughout your presentation, always asking for a minor commitment. If you do that, when you get to the end, getting them to go ahead is going to be just real natural. It's not even going to be you're not going to be having to close. You're not going to have a lot of objections. It's going to be really, really easy. The other thing is you want to learn how to bring out the hidden or real objections because people, when they're afraid to go ahead, usually the reason that people are afraid to move forward is because they're afraid of making a mistake, okay? There's something there that's holding them back, especially when you have all the evidence is saying to them, look, this makes total sense, you should go ahead. Oftentimes, people will still be afraid of moving forward, and the real reason that they're not talking to you about right now that's holding them back, and usually it's the fear of making a mistake, okay? So this is how you handle that. You say something like this, John, I'm really puzzled and concerned. Why aren't you going ahead? And so I don't make the same mistake with a future client. Would you mind telling me the real reason you're hesitant to go ahead? What I'm doing here is I'm just trying to find out what the real reason is so I can deal with it. I can't deal with, I want to think it over, or that doesn't make any sense. That's not really the real issue. John, I feel badly that you aren't going ahead when it's clearly in your best interest to do so. I obviously did something wrong or I haven't been clear. Would you mind telling me what it is so I don't make the same mistake with future clients? Again, you're going to bring out what the real reason is. John, I'm really confused. Why aren't you going ahead? Would you help me out? Is it something I did or I said, or is it the fact that I can offer you more protection for less money? Or is it that I can help you get out of debt 10 years sooner? Or is it that I can save you, $50,000 in interest? Or John, could it be the money? What is the real reason you're not going forward? In other words, you want to find out. Hey, John, sometimes when people are hesitant to go ahead, when it's obvious they should, like in this situation, it's usually because the person's afraid of making a mistake. By the way, this is true, especially when they might have made a previous mistake, like buying cash value insurance or making a bad investment choice. They don't want to make another bad investment choice, right? Or they're embarrassed that they made the bad investment choice in the beginning and they don't want to make a change because they don't want to admit that they made a mistake. Are you kind of concerned about making the right decision? Of course, they're going to say yes. Well, let's recap one more time what we're going to do for you. And then what you do is you recap all the features and benefits of making the change. And you dollarize it and what they're going to, you let them know what they're going to lose, how much they're going to lose by not going ahead. If the solutions you present improve their financial situation and it's clear they should go ahead, you got to ask yourself the questions that lead to the real reason or reasons they're not going ahead. Not closing hurts the client. It wastes your time. If you care about your client's financial well-being, you must master the art of getting to the final objection and close them. I can't stress this point enough. You must truly care about your client and the well-being of their family. This is evident when you only present solutions that improve upon their current situation, and you close in a compassionate, caring way. You have a moral obligation to close when it's clearly good for them. And this is especially important because the financial service industry is not looking out for the client today who's in the middle market. We're their only hope. You must know and believe that this is true, and it'll allow you to, kind of soothe people's fears, the fear of making the wrong decision. And what you want to do is keep them in financial situations that benefit them and out of financial situations that do not benefit them. And finally, do not leave a client's home if they don't fully understand what they're purchasing and why it's good for them. I think a lot of the reasons that people have bad persistency is when they leave a client's home, the client doesn't really understand what they're getting involved in. Lots of times people use their relationships to get people to buy, and then later on they start thinking about it, and they're not sure why they even bought it or if it makes any sense, and all they can see now is a monthly expense. And when people really understand what they're buying and what it's going to do for them and how it's going to change their life and how it's going to offer them more security, more peace of mind, a safe retirement, all that, when they really understand that, what's going to happen is they're going to not be hesitant to go ahead. Bad persistency is generally the result of a client not fully understanding what we're offering them. So it's always a mistake to close a sale based on the relationship only. They've got to know how the solutions are going to help them get what they want. They have to feel like you're a caring friend who's looking out for them and leading them to where they ultimately want to go. They really understand what the whole program is, and this is a plan to get them where they want to go financially. When I'm sitting down with a client, my main focus is I'll tell them all the time. I say, listen, John and Mary, the whole point of this exercise tonight is for me to help you formulate some sort of a plan to get what you guys really want in your life, to live where you want to live, to educate your kids, to vacation like you like to vacation, to be charitable to the things that are important to you, to have a peace of mind that the future is going to be fantastic, okay? That's the point here. I'm going to get you what you want. If you allow me to help you, I'm going to get you exactly what you want. And I can help you do that a lot more quickly if you work with me, especially if you join my business. I know I can do that, okay? And I know you'd be great at this. So let me help you, create the life you dreamed of, because I know I can do that. I know the kind of people that you are, kind of credibility you have, the quality of people that you are. There's no doubt in my mind that you could be super successful. Number one, if you follow these recommendations. Number two, especially if you get involved in Primerica with me. I know I can help you become successful much, much more quickly than you ever could with anybody else. And I'm here to help you. I'm going to be your financial coach, and I'm going to be your success coach. Let me help you do that. One of the things you must do too is you need to ask for the close a minimum of 5 times. All right. Statistically, the true professional will ask up to 5 times for people to go ahead. People are hesitant to say yes until they believe you actually can deliver what they want. The key to being able to ask repeatedly is the tone in which you ask and your level of caring about the people that you're trying to help and how much you want to help them with their financial situations. People can feel if you're simply trying to earn a commission or you truly care about their well-being. Never let anything get in the way of always doing what's in the best interest of the client. When you believe that whatever is good for the client is good for you, you're not going to have any problem closing easily, okay? And don't be afraid to ask several times, in a different way and to find out exactly what's holding them back. Okay, guys, getting firm commitments is an essential part of closing. One of the things that, if you focus on getting firm commitments when you're on appointments or when you're talking to people, you're going to really waste a lot less time. And you're going to get people to act much more quickly, and you're going to be more efficient, which means you're going to make more money in the time that you're spending. All right. So how do you do that? Let's assume that you're on an appointment and you're sitting with a client and you've gone through the presentation and you've actually gone all the way through and you've done the F&A input sheet, and now you're done and you're going to leave and go run the F&A and come back another day with all of the solutions, right? You might have closed a life sale already. You should have done that, but assume that you didn't close a life sale and you didn't close any business yet and you just finished it. What I would do and what I used to do before I left somebody's house is I would focus very intently on getting a very clear and firm commitment from the client, because it was my thought that if I couldn't get a firm and clear commitment from the client, I would not come back to visit this client, because there's no point to go through all the work of doing an F&A and all this research and all this work, spending an hour, 2 or 3 or 4 hours working on an F&A program for a client, and then come back and them say, sounds good, I want to think about it. That is not going to happen. So the way that you prevent that from happening is that you get very clear on the commitment with the client. So let's say I'm sitting down with Martin and Denise Flores, right? We've gone through the whole thing. We didn't close any business for whatever reason. They don't have their policies there, and so I couldn't really do that. So I put my everything down, and I look over to them. I say, hey, Denise and Martin, you told me that you guys, you wanted to, live at the beach someday. You want to send your kids to college and be able to pay for that. You want to travel more. You want to retire really well. You want to have less stress in your life. Denise, you were telling me that you don't want to work anymore, and you love for the fact that at some point that Martin could make more money and so that you could stay home with the children. And you have all these different goals and aspirations. And then we also discovered that based on your current level of income and your current career, accomplishing all these things is impossible, right? Is that right? And I'd get a comment, they'd say, yeah. I say, okay, well, when I come back, I'm going to come back with some solutions that are going to either completely or at least partially move you in that direction. There's no doubt in my mind that's going to happen. I am going to help you in a really dramatic fashion, all right? And I'm going to help you with your, protection. I'm going to help you with, hopefully we can do a loan for you. I don't know. If not, we're going to help you in another way. We're going to put together an investment strategy for you to accomplish, all of the goals you have financially. And then I'm going to talk to you about getting involved in our business. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to be spending a lot of time on this plan of yours. I'm probably going to spend, 4 or 5 or 6 hours working on this and putting together just an awesome plan that helps you get exactly where you want to go, exactly where you told me you want to go, okay? So if I can do exactly what you want, if I can help you get where you want to go, can I get a commitment, a firm commitment from you tonight that you're going to implement each and every one of the strategies that help you move in the direction of the goals and dreams that you told me tonight? Can we look at each other, man to man, man to woman, and say, look, I'm going to do this stuff. I'm going to commit to putting together to implementing the plan that's going to get me where I want to go. I just want to know that, because I don't want to go and put all this energy back and then come back and you go and you tell me, this sounds really good, Hector, but I want to think about it, because there's no point in me going through that exercise if you're not committed to your financial future, if you're not committed to doing the things that you need to do to move you closer to your goals and dreams, because I'm going to work hard to do that. And there's the part that you have to do is you have to commit to doing that. Can I get your guys' commitment that when I come back, you're going to implement all of those things? And if I don't get a yes, I'm not coming back, okay? And if they say, well, Hector, I want to think about it, I'll look at it, well, I'll tell you when I get there. No, I'm asking you, if I do all these things that we've talked about tonight and I can help you move in that direction, what would there be to think about at that point? It's either yes, I'm going to do it, or no, I don't want to reach my goals and dreams. There's no in between. So I just want to know that I'm not wasting my time, and I don't want to waste any more of your time. If you're not committed to your future financially, then there's no point in us going any further. Can I get a commitment from you that you're going to say yes to everything that makes sense that night? To the loan, if I can show you how I can reduce your debt, if I can show you, well, we already know you need the protection, but I'm going to get your policy, and if I can improve upon your life insurance policy, can I assume you're going to say yes to that? And if I can show you an investment strategy and investments that will help you move where you want to go, can I assume you're going to go ahead and do all of those things? Can I get your commitment tonight? And then shut up and listen, right? Because they're either going to say yes, or they're going to say, I want to think about it. Say, look, well, I need to know for sure. If they say, I can't make that commitment, I want to think, okay, well, great. I tell you what, I'll take this stuff. When you're ready to make a commitment to completely take care of your financial future, I am going to be more than happy to come back with your plan and help implement that plan. You can give me a call. Here's my card. I'd love to talk to you. Most of the time, that's not going to happen. But I'm telling you, if I can't get their commitment, I'm not coming back. See, you can only get run around in Primerica if you let people run you around. If you're going to do a lot of work for somebody, you deserve to get compensated for that. And the bottom line is this. And I know that this plan is going to move them where they want to go. It's going to help them dramatically. And if you don't have the directness to tell them you're going to do that and let them know that they need to do this, then, you're not helping them. You're not helping them in any way, shape, or form. So you've got to make sure that you get a really, really firm commitment. And you can do it in a nice way, in smiling and just look. I would just tell people all the time, look, I'm in business, you're in business. When you work, you expect to get paid, right? When I work, I expect to get paid. I'm going to do a tremendous job for you. and I'm going to do everything I said I'm going to do. And if I can do that, all I'm saying is, are you going to go ahead? That's all, right? Because if you show up to work and you put in time and energy, you expect to get compensated, correct? I do too. That's all. You do think that's fair? Well, great. Well, let's go ahead then. And that's what you need to do. Don't be afraid to ask for commitment. And a lot of you are hearing this right now and you're going, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And you're going to be afraid to get a commitment. And this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to get run around. You're going to have to go back 2 or 3 times, and it's going to be your own fault. And you're not helping them, and you're not helping yourself. And then what's going to happen is your wife or your husband's going to go, you're gone all the time. You're not getting any results. I think you should quit that Primerica thing. And that's your fault. You need to be direct. You need to ask for what you want. You need to get a commitment. You need to deliver on what you tell them you're going to deliver on. That's the key. If you deliver, it'll all work out. Believe me, okay? And if you can't deliver, you don't deserve the business. But if you can, you do. So get commitments. Make sure you always get a commitment, whether it's on an appointment. If you're sitting down with a potential recruit, you should get a commitment from that person as well. Or if you're calling people for an appointment, you get a commitment. Always be working at getting commitments. The key to getting what you want is asking directly for what you want. One of the next CDs is going to be overcoming all the objections, and the next CD is going to cover all of the information regarding how to do that. In conclusion regarding closing, guys, it's everything. If you're ever going to become wealthy, all right, if you're ever going to build a great business, and even if it's not Primerica, your ability to close, which means basically getting people to say yes to you, yes to your product, yes to your service, yes to your opportunity. That's what closing is, okay? Getting people to say yes. If you learn how to do that, there's no limits to what you can do. If you don't learn how to do that, everything's going to be difficult. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to be tough. So you might as well just learn how to do it because it's all technique. It's simply learning how to ask questions in the appropriate way. Once you learn it forever. It's kind of like riding a bike. Folks, I've been doing this a long time. I haven't ridden a bike in, I don't know, maybe a year. I know for sure if I went out and there's a bike out there, I can get on that bike and ride it. I have no problem. I know that I can do that, okay? It's just like this stuff, okay? I've mastered it so well that I haven't really even been on an appointment for years, since 1992, 93. But I know it so well, it's like riding a bike. Once you've got it, you own it. You never have to relearn it again. You always know it when you really get it. And I promise you, it will help you become wealthy if that's what you want to do. It makes everything fun and exciting. And some of the things you're going to learn here are going to help you in your personal life too. I promise you, right? You know, just the idea of learning how to get what you want and ask for what you want makes every part of your life better. I promise you that. Okay. So good selling, good closing. Look forward to seeing you win big.